it away.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
1 on, 2 out. Martinez hits one to deep right center field. At the wall. Tie game.
A pleasant good morning to everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Lewis Sports Network. It is your boy Lewis, man, coming back at you again once again with another heavy hitter banger with yet another video. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on, make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. I said I was going to cover this and I haven't had a chance to do it, but I'm going to do it today, this morning, before I get started with work, man. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Tuesday morning. So we are going to talk about baseball. MLB World Series Throwbacks, the 2001 World Series between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the New York Yankees right here on the Lewis Sports Network. So let's get into it now. You had two teams. We had an expansion team that was only in their fourth year of existence with the Arizona Diamondbacks against the 26-time world champion New York Yankees. How did we get here? Well, the Yankees ended up winning 95 games in the regular season. They only ended up playing 160 games. The Diamondbacks ended up playing 162 games. They won 92 games. But the reason why the 2001 baseball season is mostly remembered for is what happened on September. That fateful morning of September 11th in the year of 2001. That was one of those events where you say, where were you when this so-and-so happened? I was starting my second day of high school when it happened. I was at gym and I was told that I needed to go home because of what happened. I didn't know what was going on. And when I went to go to the office to wait for my father who was going to pick me up, the principal came on TV I believe it was close to the main office, right by the hallway. And he turns on the TV. At that time, it was called AH News. So we did news coverage of, things that are usually going on in the school and all that. But he wanted to give some news that was happening outside. And what I found out was, there were two planes that crashed into the Twin Towers early in the morning. And when I found out about that, I immediately, freaked out. It was scary. My dad came and picked me up and I ended up going home that day. It was a little bit strange at first just because I was nowhere near where the events happened. I was at school. The school where I went to was close to Yankee Stadium. It was about 2 or 3 blocks away. But I ended up going home because it happened, in Manhattan? So it happened in Lower Manhattan, but I ended up going home anyway. But I remember that there was no baseball for about, I believe, 10 days due to the events that happened. So many victims, so many lives lost, so many loved ones who knew that their family members that worked in 9/11. You also have the fighter fighters and the policemen and the EMTs who were there who ended up losing their lives trying to help rescue the people from that horrific attack, from that horrific terrorist attack that happened in 2001. And it's one of those moments that you're just always going to remember and it'll never go away. And last year celebrated, this year is actually really, technically is going to be 20 years since the attack happened in 2001, because this is the year of 2021. In the baseball season, obviously it's a 6-month season, including once you go into the postseason. So it's 7 months of baseball, right? I remember that Mike Piazza, when he played for the Mets against the Braves, it was the first game back. And I remember, I think late in, I think it was the 7th inning, I want to say, he hit a huge 3-run home run that kind of found a way to kind of lift up the city. I remember so much support that all the other baseball teams and all the other people in the States were showing to New York that year. And I said to myself that this is pretty cool. You don't see that. But it showed you that it was more than a game. And I called that World Series between the Diamondbacks and the Yankees more than a game, just because of happened and the significance of finishing the rest of that baseball season and what that World Series meant. Now, quickly, let's get into the playoffs. The Diamondbacks, they ended up defeating the Houston Astros, I believe 3-2 in the first round, because the Houston Astros won 93 games. They actually tied the Cardinals. The Cardinals ended up winning the wild card. They had the same exact amount of wins in that division. Then we have the Atlanta Braves, who the Diamondbacks beat in the first. They beat them in the first round in the division series. I think it was 3-1. And this was really where the Atlanta Braves started to kind of lose their dominance in the postseason. Actually, no. I'm sorry, no. My mistake. No, the Diamondbacks, they beat the Astros. My mistake. The Braves ended up beating the Cardinals, and they moved on to the NLCS. That was actually the last time that the Braves went to the NLCS, in 2001, during Bobby Cox's tenure of winning all of those division titles. It was 2001, because from 2002 to 2005, the Braves, they kept losing in the division series. They lost the division series 5 of the last 6 years, from 2000 to 2005. 2001 was the last time they went to the NLCS, but they defeated the Cardinals. And then the Diamondbacks they put a whooping on the Braves. I think they swept the Braves in the NLCS 4-0. Or I think it was they beat them in 5. But I know it was a quick series. It was very quick. That series did not go long. And then the Diamondbacks ended up making themselves to the World Series. And in just their 4th year of existence, the Diamondbacks are National League champions. Crazy. For my New York Yankees, like I said before, we win 95 games, we win the division, we beat the Red Sox by 13 games to win the division. Division series, we're down 2-0 to the Oakland A's. I was concerned because I thought that series was going to be over, and we won't get a chance to defend the title for the 3rd straight year. Being that as it made, Game 3, the most pivotal game of the series, Mike Messina on the mound pitching. I remember he threw that knuckle curve to, I think Terrace Long was the one that hit the pitch, and he hit it down the right field line past Tino Martinez, and Shane Spencer went to go cover it at right field, and Jeremy Giambi was trying to score all the way from first. And I said, could he possibly, because he's not the fastest runner in the world, I thought he was going to score, because then what happened was Shane Spencer overthrew the cutoff man, which was Tino. The ball was way over his head. And just when I think that Giambi's going to score, out of nowhere, comes the Yankee shortstop. Jeter, from shortstop, runs all the way past the first baseline, is able to pick up the ball and throw a quick shovel pass to Posada, and Posada just tagged Giambi just in time to get him out. It was one of the most unbelievable plays I had ever seen by a position player that I had ever seen. I said Derek Jeter had no business being in that play, and thank God he was. You talk about a guy who put himself in position to make a play, and Derek Jeter made one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see. Now, people talk about Jeter and his defense. Maybe in the regular season, Jeter probably wasn't that great of a defender. I thought he got better defensively as he got older. But in the playoffs, Jeter has made some unbelievable plays in the postseason. If he was playing kind of like that, as he was in the regular season, he probably would have won more gloves at shortstop, and Jeter ended up winning 5 for his career. But anyway, we win, I believe, 1-0. I believe we won that Game 3, and that turned the entire series around. We win Game 4. We come back to Game 5, and then in the 9th inning, there was a pop-up going to the third base side. Scott Brocious was charging in on the ball, and then Jeter comes in from shortstop, and then Jeter makes this behind the backhanded catch as he falls back into the seats by the third base side, in between third base and left field, ends up catching the ball. Another unbelievable gem that's you just remember forever. And we pretty much had the momentum. We come back from 2-0, and we defeat the Oakland A's 3-2. Then we go to the American League Championship Series. This is the post-A-Rod. This is the coming of Ichiro. Ichiro takes the league by storm. He ends up winning the MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. I think he bashed 240 hits his very first year. He had an unbelievable season. The Mariners set an American League record. They win 116 games. And then all of a sudden, we just beat them handily in 5 games. We beat them in 5. Soriano ended up winning one of those games with an opposite field home run, or I think he hit that in the 8th inning. I don't remember, but I know it helped the Yankees give them the lead, and they ended up winning the game. I think that was in Game 4, and we beat them. We didn't have home field advantage. We beat them by the score. We beat them in 5 games, 4 games to 1. So now, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've gone 10 minutes in on how both teams got there, the Yankees are the 3-time defending world champions. We get a chance to defend our title going up against a team that in their 4th year of existence goes to the World Series. You're talking about a team that pretty much had good hitting, good solid hitting. Luis Gonzalez had a historic season. He ends up hitting 57 home runs. It's crazy because he never really had a great season after that, like in terms of like standout. That was like his one standout season. He had 57 home runs. Keep in mind that this was also during the steroid era, folks. During the steroid era, the Diamondbacks end up getting Curt Schilling from the Phillies, and I said to myself, how are we going to deal with Schilling and Randy Johnson? Randy Johnson was already with Arizona. I believe this was Randy's 2nd season with the Diamondbacks. Or I don't remember if they got him in the offseason of 2000, because before that he was with the Houston Astros. But they end up having Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling, 2 Cy Young candidates, 2 number 1 aces at 1 and 2 in Bob Brenly's rotation. Bob Brenly being the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Before we get started and I talk about this series, Curt Schilling and Roger Clemens, both of those guys won the Cy Young Award for their respective leagues. Curt Schilling, I believe, won 20 games. So did Roger Clemens. What was crazy about Roger Clemens was he was 38 years old. And at 38, Roger was arguably having his best pitching season of his career. He started the season 17-1. I've never heard of a 38-year-old pitcher, and he was pitching for our Yankees at the time. Started 17-1. That to me was crazy. All right, on to the World Series. So we got the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. Game 1, we have Mike Messina against Curt Schilling. Mike Messina didn't pitch well in that game. Didn't pitch well in that game. I think he allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, but he only pitched 3 innings. He was getting rocked. Didn't pitch well. Curt Schilling ended up striking out, I believe, 8 Yankees in 7 innings of work. Diamondbacks beat us 9-1. We could not hit at all. We got dominated. Game 2, we had Randy Johnson going up against Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte, I couldn't stand the way he pitched in this series, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. But anyway, Randy Johnson pretty much dominated us again. He had, I think, 10 strikeouts in the game. He pitched a complete game. He pitched a complete game shutout. We lost the game 4-0. So we could not score against Randy Johnson either. Then we have game 3. So through the first 2 games, we only score run. We got outscored 13-1 in Arizona in Chase Field. Then we go to the Bronx. We get the next 3 games in New York. Game 3, Roger Clemens pitches against Brian Anderson. Roger Clemens goes 7 innings strong. We win a close game, by the way. We end up winning, I believe, by the score of 2-1. We did not score a lot in that game, obviously, but Roger Clemens just did enough. Roger Clemens ended up pitching great in this series. So we cut the series 2-1. Mariano got the save. And then we have game 4. Another great pitching matchup. We have Curt Schilling against El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, one of my favorite pitchers that ever put on a Yankee uniform. One of the best postseason pitchers we ever had. Just a big game pitcher. Anytime you needed El Duque on the mound, El Duque, he gave it everything he had. But it was like he always just pitched great gems in the postseason. Great gems. And I think El Duque, if I'm not mistaken, he had not lost a postseason game, or I think he was, or I think he had lost one, but I know that he had a really nice record in the postseason. Every time he went out there, man, the guy just flat out knew how to pitch. And the thing is with Duque is that he was very unorthodox in his pitching style. He had a high leg kick, and then from the high leg kick, when he starts from the windup, he would go sidearm. And the thing is, he was very deceptive with his pitches because you would think that the ball is coming out real slow, and then it gets late movement, and then the ball just kind of jumps by the time it gets to the plate. That's how deceptive and how good of a pitcher that Duque was, and he located very well. So Duque pitches very well. I think he pitches 6 innings, allows only 1 run. Curt Schilling, he pitched great. He struck out 9 in 7 innings. He felt really good. Bob Brenly wanted to keep it in the hands of the bullpen, so he went with Young Kim, who the Yankees had never seen before, and he was a sidearm delivery, Asian pitcher. We had never seen him before, and he was baffling us with his funky delivery. We had never seen it. He was striking us out, getting outs. He, struck out the side in the 8th inning, and, he gets rid of us easy. And then we have the 9th inning. Paul O'Neill gets on base. I think he drew a walk or got a hit. Young Kim gets 2 quick outs, and then we have Tino Martinez. We're down 3-1. We're down 3-1 because I think the bullpen ended up allowing those runs in the 7th and 8th inning. Tino Martinez comes to the plate. I know this video is going to be long, but I just wanted to recap the World Series, just how great it was and how classic it was. Tino gets a fastball, inner half of the plate, puts a great swing on it, drills it to deep right center, drills it to center field, ends up tying the game. When I saw that, I went absolutely bananas. And I remember I was watching this with my dad because my dad was a huge baseball fan. He could probably, he knew just about all the players. He knew about all the teams. It was crazy. He collected baseball cards as a collectible. I mean, it was almost like what didn't he have? He collected snapbacks. He always had collector's items, But anyway, Tino hits that home run. I'm going crazy. Paul O'Neill is jumping around at the bases. At this point, Paul O'Neill, this actually ended up being Paul O'Neill's last season. He was 39 years old. Pretty much was in the twilight of his career, and he was on his way to retirement in 2001. Just unbelievable moment. I know that George Bush ended up throwing the ceremonial first pitch. I don't remember what game it was, but I know that Jeter told him to not bounce it on the ground, else they would boo him, and then he ended up throwing a perfect strike. Didn't mean to, go over and skip that, but I just wanted to mention that. It was unbelievable. Young Kim gives up that big 2-run home run. I'm hyped. I said we got a chance to win this thing. Okay. No, it goes scoreless. It goes scoreless for the next couple of innings. And then Mark Grace, before the game, great first baseman, by the way, he mentions before the game started, right on the cusp of Game 4, he says there was a full moon out. And he says, hey, full moon tonight. Crazier things have always happened on a full moon. So not only that, but then it turns midnight. And for the first time, and because this game was on October 31st, it was on Halloween. Game 4 was on Halloween. So for the first time in Major League history, ladies and gentlemen, we have November baseball. And Derek Jeter comes up to the plate in the bottom half of the 12th inning, I believe. I think Young Kim was still pitching in that game. I could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong, one of you guys can correct me in the comment section. But anyway, he throws the pitch to Jeter, sidearm delivery. Jeter fists it off to right field by the 3-4 mark at right field. Very short porch at right field, a left-hand hitter's dream. He takes it opposite field. Reggie Sanders goes back, tries to catch the ball, tries to see if he could trace it. He could track it. He couldn't. It clears the fence just barely. And Derek Jeter, who at that point was he was only 1 for 15 in the World Series up to that point before that at bat, before he hits that home run. The Yankees end up winning 4-3 in 12 innings. Derek Jeter, we talked about Reggie Jackson becoming Mr. October for hitting 3 home runs in the 77 World Series in Game 6 against the Dodgers. Derek Jeter hits a home run to win a World Series game in Game 4 to tie the series at 2, because keep in mind we were down 2-1 coming into that game. ties the series at 2 with one of the most iconic home runs in baseball playoff history. Obviously Yankee lore, but playoff history. I mean, come on. It's every kid's dream to hit a home run in the World Series. Jeter did it to end the game, came clutch and tied the series at 2. It's not always about if you're struggling. You could be 0 for something. You could be 2 for 20, 2 for 25. But if you somehow can find a way to come up with that big hit, all of that gets forgotten for that moment because you helped your team win the game and you came up big when the team needed you most. Because that's what it's always about. So Jeter hits that home run. I'm going crazy. I feel like we have a chance to go ahead in the series now because it's a 2-2 best of 3. We were in danger of falling 3-1, but the Yankee aura and mystique just came to play once again. And we were able to win that game. On to Game 5. In Game 5, we have Miguel Batista going up against Mike Messina. Mike Messina pitches great. He walked 3, struck out 9, pitched 7 innings of 1-run baseball. Pitched great. Once again, we're down in the 9th inning. We're down 2-0 to the Diamondbacks. I forgot who was on base. I think it was Chuck Knobloch. I think he drew a walk in that inning. I don't remember. But anyway, up comes Scott Brosius, who was not having a great World Series, and Scott Brosius was the '98 World Series MVP because he played unbelievable in the '98 postseason and in the World Series. They bring in Young Kim in the 8th inning, gets rid of the Yankees on the side. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 1 man on base, runner in scoring position. I think he was on first or second. I don't remember. But anyway, Brosius gets a slider. I remember Young Kim threw a slider on the inner half. He tried to jam him inside. Brosius, with his quick hands, turns on it, hits it to deep left field. The ball goes out. He ties the game at 2. I remember Derek Jeter jumped right out of that freaking dugout with his hands fist up in the air, both arms. And I said to myself, I couldn't believe it. I said, I must be dreaming. You mean to tell me we're down to our last out, back-to-back nights, down by 2 runs, and Tino Martinez and Scott Brosius save our season by hitting back-to-back games, game-tying 2-run home runs in the clutch. Unbelievable. The Yankee mystique and aura, once again, the Yankee baseball gods once again came back and said, we ain't gonna finna let you lose tonight. Just unbelievable. Then we tied the game, and then I forgot what inning was it. But anyway, Knobloch was on base. The hitter was Alfonso Soriano. Hits an opposite field base hit. Chuck Knobloch scores from second. The throw came late. And the Yankees win the game 3-2 in Game 5. And we take a 3-2 lead. We got outscored through the first 5 games. But all 3 games that we won in New York, we won by 1-run games. And the crazy part was, it was something that the city needed with the way we were feeling we were feeling upset. We were feeling depressed. We were feeling stressed. And to see the Yankees pull through the way that they did, it was something that the city needed, man, considering what happened with September 11th. The devastating attack that we suffered, all the lives that were lost, all the emotions. For the Yankees to win 3 games in a row in the fashion that we did, especially in games 4 and 5, was just so magical, unbelievable. I said to myself that we could win the World Series now because we're up 3-2 and we have 1 more game to go. So we go to Arizona. And like I said, I feel like it was one of those theatrical movies that it was just meant to play the way it was. It was just meant to be the way that it happened. We go to Game 6, Arizona. Randy Johnson goes up against Andy Pettitte. Randy pitches, I think he pitched 8 innings of that game. Andy Pettitte pitched the worst game of his career, of his life. Could not get anybody. He only pitched 2 innings, allowed 6 runs, 7 hits. Andy Pettitte only went 2 innings. At one point, ladies and gentlemen, the Diamondbacks were up 13-0 on us. It was that horrible. It was that bad. And I just said to myself, I know you can't win them all, but it was crazy. Andy Pettitte did not win a single game in the World Series. He didn't pitch deep into the game, which you thought he probably could have done, but he didn't. And we lost 15-2. So erase that game. It was one of the worst games that I just couldn't believe it. The Yankees, they just couldn't hit Randy Johnson at all. So we got 2 runs on him, but it was just pretty much too late. He dominated us throughout the game. See, the 2 runs don't tell you how much we got lit up. Anyway, game 7. Curt Schilling against Roger Clemens. Curt Schilling pitches on 3 days rest. Both players dealing. They were both dealing. Roger Clemens and Curt Schilling each go 7 innings. Curt Schilling then in the 8th inning tried to throw a pitch to Soriano. Soriano hits it to deep left. Gives us a 2-1 lead. I'm hyped. I'm saying to myself, we got outscored by so many runs in this series. You mean to tell me that we're actually going to pull this off? So we bring in Mariano for the 8th inning. He gets 3 outs in the 8th. And I'm saying to myself, yo, this most likely is over. And I said, I wish we could get an insurance run, but we couldn't. Anyway, 9th inning, Mariano pitches, and it was the worst inning of my life. Mariano, who is just arguably just unhittable in the postseason, we forget that Mariano's human. The last time that Mariano looked that shaky was up against the Cleveland Indians in the 97 Division Series in Game 4. We were up 2-1. We were the defending champions because we won the 96 title, and then he gives up that home run to Sandy Alomar opposite field. We end up losing the series in 5. And the funny thing is, the 97 team that we actually had a better team in 97 than we did in 96. We won more games. Anyway, though, getting back to 2001, Mariano doesn't record a single out in the 9th inning. We get Luis Gonzalez at the plate. It was a tie score. I remember Mariano threw an elevated cutter. Luis Gonzalez was able to fist it into left center field over the head of Jeter. We lose the series by losing the final score to 2-1. It was the first game of the series that we lost a 1-run game. Before that, all of the 1-run games we had won. It was the last game of the series where we lost the game by 1 run. Before that, games 3, 4, and 5, we won all our games by 1 run. And games 4 and 5 in extra innings. But that was the first time we lost. We lost 3-2 in a 1-run game. And I was so upset with Mariano, but it's like I said before, it makes you realize how lucky and how we take him for granted. He's just so good. He's almost automatic. He was getting all these saves, but you forget he's human. And it was something that you had to deal with. And I give credit to Mariano because other closers, there have been closers who have taken their lives when they've blown, I think of Donnie Moore, when he gave up that game-tying home run to Dave Henderson in Game 5 of the ALCS in '86, when the Angels were one out away from going to the World Series for the first time in, team history. But Mariano, he just said, you just deal with it and you just move on. And you take the loss and you just move on. So, it just tells you right there, man. That just shows you how Mariano is, So I gave Mariano a lot of credit. But, like I said, man, that just shows you how crazy things are. And we end up losing the series 4-3. It was a classic, thrilling 7-game series. What hurts me the most is the fact that as an expansion team, the Diamondbacks only in their 4th year of existence end up winning a World Series. Just in their 4th year of existence. And then eventually 2 years later, we lose a World Series to another expansion team in the Florida Marlins. They end up winning a championship in their 10th year in existence. Their first one, they also, like the Diamondbacks, won a world title in their 4th year in '97 against the Cleveland Indians. But we lose that series in 7 games. It was so heartbreaking. There were a couple of changes to the team. Tino Martinez ends up going to the Cardinals. Paul O'Neill ends up retiring. It was a few changes, to our baseball team after that 2001 team. We were not the same. We weren't the same. It took us 9 years to win a World Series after that. But even though we lost the series, I'm going to say this though. Looking back, I was so concerned about winning the World Series that I didn't think about the importance of the World Series and what New York did in games 3, 4, and 5 that meant so much, for the city of New York. It was magical, and it made you realize there's just things more important than winning a World Series. I would have loved to win the World Series, but there's just some things more important. And that's why I call this World Series more than a game, because that's exactly what it was, more than a game. At the end of the day, I still haven't gotten over it because, you're just kind of passionate as a Yankee fan. But again, you got to give congratulations to the Diamondbacks. Matt Williams said it best, who played third base for the Diamondbacks. Even though you hated the fact that the Yankees won those 3 games in New York, it's just the way it meant to us and what it meant for the city. And the fact that we got support from all of baseball, that made it even more special. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Diamondbacks win 4-3. It was a heartbreaking 7-game series, but it was one of the classic 7-game series that I'll always remember. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis with another one. Let me know what you guys think on my breakdown of the 2001 World Series between the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. Bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank you guys for watching.